Remember the cult story I told you guys last week? In case you weren't around, I was on my way home from the gym one day, and I was approached by a Japanese lady who was talking to me in Japanese. And then when I told her that, I don't quite understand what you're saying, she started speaking to me in English, and I was very surprised at that. And she asked me if I wanted to come pray with her. And I said, like, oh, I'm kind of busy. I have to be at the train station soon. She said, you want to come just for 2 minutes, get a quick blessing, and then go? I'm like, you know what? That's okay. I'll join you. So I did. I walked over, and they were standing there waiting for me, which is strange because how did they know I was coming? And it was like very well-dressed Japanese people wearing suits, completely marble white church. Everything looked so pretty, and there was like flowers, and it was a very weird modern church. I walked in, they sat me down at a little meeting table, and they said, okay, now first we have to pray in tongues. Do you guys know what praying in tongues is? Praying in tongues means kind of just saying whatever, like letting the Holy Spirit take you over and just go crazy. So it'd be like, like just saying whatever the fuck comes to mind, right? That's praying in tongues. And it's because in the Bible apparently there's a passage about how people, when they're touched by the Spirit of Jesus, they speak in unknown tongues. So that's what they do there, is you just pray in tongues. You say nonsense in your prayers. And after I was done getting blessed by praying in tongues, they took me into a changing room. Following that, they asked me to put on a robe. So I put on the robe, I walked out, and they said, oh, did you take everything off? I say, everything off? Yes, your underwear, your socks, your shirt, everything off? I say, oh, why? And they said, oh, because wet. Because wet. Okay, so, I mean, I'm already so far in, I kind of have to keep going, right? Like, I can't quit here. I already got the first blessing. So I went back in, took off all my clothes, completely removed everything, and then I put on the robe, and then they took me with them. They continued to follow me over. So I walked into this strange little place. It was like an outdoor area off the church. It was still within the church walls, but it was like an open air part of the inside of the church. And there was a big kind of marble, like very clean again, but like marble pool. And they told me to get in, sit down on my knees, and have the water go up to my chest. So they then baptized me in freezing ice water. And I was like, I mean, I gotta go into the water. I'm already so far in. I can't tell them now. I don't want my soul to be saved. I came out of the water. I was shaking like crazy because it was ice cold water, Chad. Ice cold. I walked up, sat on the chair, and they came over with like towels and just went like, oh, good job, good job. And then she asked me the following question, which was, do you have anyone deceased in your family? I say, ooh, is this where... Are they going to ask me to pay a subscription to save my dad's soul? So I told him, yes, my dad is deceased. And then they said, we can save him too. You can get baptized on his behalf. I'm like, oh, gee, so I gotta get back in there. In the ice water, it was so cold. It's November in Tokyo. It's late November. It's winter. So you know what? At that point, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll do it. I don't want these people to think that my dad is gonna go to hell because I didn't want to get an ice bath. I didn't want them to think that I was okay with my dad going to hell. So I did another baptism on my dad's behalf. And then I came out again, and I was like, this time I was like, oh, I was so cold. And then she said, is there anyone else in your family who is deceased? Anyone at all? Your grandma, your grandpa? And at this point I'm like, nope, there's no one else in my family who's ever passed away ever. They're all alive. And then, you know, they're like, oh, okay. I'm sorry I'm sorry, Grandpa, but like, come on, I did one for Dad. That's fair. You know, there's a reasonable level to which I can take the precaution that what if this religion is in fact true. There's a reasonable precaution. I've taken care of my dad, but every extended relative I'm not so sure about. What is the story? This is me getting recruited by a cult. And then I went back out and we did another prayer for my dad after I'd gone back in, dried my hair, put on my normal clothes again. You know, essentially I got dry. And I realized, I realized earlier, like, they could have killed me. They could have drowned me in that pool. They could have cut my head off. Like, I left my phone and my wallet in the changing room. They could have killed me. But yeah, they gave me a gift basket with a cake, and we reviewed the cake on last week's stream. We reviewed the cake. It was a pretty good cake, and they gave me some different stuff. But curiously, they didn't give me any brochure, any membership material for the church. They actually didn't give me any of that. They never even said I had to come to the church. They said I could pray at home. They just said my soul is saved now. Now I'm going to heaven. And they were all super happy that I was going to heaven and that I saved my dad and stuff. They didn't ask for money. They didn't ask for any membership fee. They didn't even ask me to sign up for anything. They were just like, "Oh, you're saved now. Okay, wonderful. I suppose I am saved now." But yeah, basically, I went to my gym yesterday, and I asked my gym trainer, because he's also a Westerner. I asked him, "Hey, do you ever get invited to pray at this church?" And he said, "Oh, nah. Only about 12 times." I said, "Oh, really? Have you ever gone?" And he said, "Nah, but I did do training with a group last week, and you know, we were talking about it because they'd been invited too." And I said, next time he's Australian, which is why I switched to an Australian accent when I'm nah, you know, but I did talk to a group last week, and you know, I trained a group last week and we were talking about it, and I told them, like, next time they ask, I'm gonna go do it. So last night they asked me again, but it was so late I just said no. And then I told him I did it. I went with them. And then I told him the full story, and he was like, "Oh, the others gotta hear this." So he called over other people in the gym so they could all listen to it as I was telling the story. I'm so happy I did that cult thing. Honestly, I'm so happy about it. This is such a good story to tell people. And everyone at that gym had been invited to go, but no one had ever done it. I was the first person to do it.